Hey everybody, I am going to show you a little bit about Canva because I know some of you guys were interested in learning about Canva and how to create your own images, your own buttons, and things like that. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to log into canva.com. You will have to set up your own account. They do have a lot of options for free. I am currently testing out the 30 days of the premium to kind of just see how that is playing out. What if I like the other features with it? But there's a lot of options in the free version as well. So when you get into Canva, you're going to see a lot of stuff. I just start by clicking on Create a Design. And I'm going to do like kind of the big banner, kind of like this here first on the front of my page. I actually use these as headers too. And then I'm going to do custom dimensions. I like the width being the 1500 pixels because it usually covers most of the screen. And then height, depending on how big you want it to be, kind of can determine. And then I'm going to do, and you can change it. So here's the thing is if you do it and you're like, hey, I don't really like that size, it just looks small. You can copy your option and resize it in the premium feature. However, you would have to start over if you're just using the free. So I'm just going to do 1500 by 1000 here for my new design, and I should create new design. You'll actually get to see about kind of what that looked like when it comes in to your design here. You can see it's more of a square feature there. If this is not quite what you're looking for, if you don't want it to be so deep, if you want it to be a different, you can resize it, but this is also in the, like I said, this is also in the premium to do just this one. So maybe I don't want to do 1000, but maybe 750. It'll just copy and resize it there and give me a new thing. And you can see here now it's just not as deep. It's changed a little bit. So here are the great things about Canva because you have lots of options. Really, you can do photos. So there's a bunch of, and they'll tell you which ones are pro or which ones are free. So the pro ones, again, I can use those right now because I am doing the trial version, is 30-day trial, but a lot of these are for free. So you can search for something. If you see, I can see some of the things that I searched in the past. If you want to do like themes, you could say winter. You could there's some great photos here that you can use if you want to look for certain things. The other thing is you can just pick a background, and some of these are really cute backgrounds. If you like some of the, some of the more natural looks, so you can have like a brick, or there's definitely different patterns, the shiplap look, if that's kind of what you like. I mean, just there's so many different things that you can kind of pick through and look at. Oops, I apologize. I just hit the wrong button there. So let's try that again. I hit back, and so it took me all the way out. So I'm going to have to do my new picture here. Whoops, 750. And create new design. I think I could go back, but we'll just kind of start back here. Yeah, you just have to hit this arrow to hide it and not the back arrow up here, which is the mistake that I made. But backgrounds, again, you can look, there's landscapes, patterns, abstract. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do. And you can see a lot of these are free options. And you can just, if you're using a background, whatever you click, it'll automatically fill it in for you. So like this one's really pretty, the colors, because if you're looking for colors, it just fills it into your shape size. If you're doing, obviously you can do a color background. If you're doing a picture, the only thing with the photos is you will have to size it. So like maybe I like this with the flowers here, I will have to resize it. And then you're just going to want to make it, so you see the blue lines, you're just going to kind of want to line it up, and then you'll see that it'll line up there kind of perfectly and fill in all that white space. And then you can do it that way. You can upload your own photos. Like I can go to uploads here, and you can see I uploaded some of my own images from my classroom. I chose to do that because I was like, yeah, I like some of these and they're really cute, But I had some nice photos in my classroom, kind of give it that feel of if I was in my classroom, and that was just personal preference. So you guys, again, can choose what you would like. And then if you want to add some text on here, you're just going to click the text box. There's some really cute ones already made here that they kind of put together. You can see some of the prints that are put together. And you can kind of go through here. Again, there's a lot of ones that are free. If you go through and you find one that you really like, so like this one, this Happy Holidays, I think this is actually the print that I use here. It's called Lifesavers. Yeah, and I really like this print. Some of them have a subheading. If you don't like the subheading, you can click it till it has a solid line and just hit delete, and it'll take that out. You can type your own, whatever you wanted to hear. If you want to say like, welcome, if I can type correctly, welcome to second grade. And then you can, size it however you want. You can click and drag it and move it wherever you want to. Just make sure that when you're doing these pictures and things, you don't want too busy where it's hard to see the words. The great thing about Canva too, as you make things, you can click on colors, or I apologize, you can click on here and you can click the colors to change the colors, but it'll give you options from the photo. So if you want to use colors that will complement whatever photos you're using, it'll give you colors here. I made my own, and this was a feature with the Pro. It's like I could go through and find my own, and I picked all these neon colors because I had the neon colored After Brights paper that made my paper airplane, so I was kind of trying to keep it similar to what my photo was. When you're moving these around, the great thing is it'll give you a grid too, so you can kind of see, like if you see the purple lines there, it tells me that I'm centered in the middle, but I'm also kind of right below the middle line, centered in the middle vertical, and then you have the horizontal line as well, so it kind of helps you so you're not all just in the middle there. You can change the title to whatever you want. If you want to download this and you're like, hey, I like this, this is good, I want to download it, then you can just click on here, download, and you can download the file and save it. The other thing that's great too is if you want to use this heading, but you want to keep the same heading and you want to put it on multiple pages, the great thing is this button here where it says copy page. I can copy the page. Now I have a page 2. And then I can change this, and maybe this is now my classroom newsletters. And now I want to use it for, and it'll stay right there in the middle. This is now the header for the page for my classroom newsletter. And I can keep going. I can keep adding new pages. I can duplicate that page. So then all I have to do is really just retype in what I want it to say. And then when you download it, it'll actually download in a zip file. But if you only want to download this page, when you click download, you can just say, instead of saying all pages, you can just click which page you want to download, which is great because when you save it and you're like, oh, I need to go back and I forgot to add this page. So you've already downloaded pages 1 through 4. You just added a 5th page to say like maybe how-to videos. And you can do that, and then you can only just download that one page. You don't have to re-download everything and then extract the files and all that when it comes as a zip. So that's kind of the great thing. It does automatically save. It'll say all changes saved. This will bring you back home. This is your back arrow or undo anything if you need to. So that's kind of how to do some of these, like a banner. I'm going to go back home. And that's going to, like I said, that'll automatically save. It may sometimes take a second to show up on my designs. So you can say it's generating right now. But if I wanted to do, say, the buttons, and I know that's the other thing a lot of people are doing. So I can do create a design. The size that I use for buttons are 150 by 150. I keep it a square. The great thing when you're working in Canva and you're doing this is you're not going to have to worry about when you upload it into Canvas that some are going to be bigger and some are going to be smaller. You're telling it exactly what size it's going to be and what those dimensions are, and it will not change unless you physically change it. So meaning you're pulling the side arrow, making it bigger or smaller. So I create my new design here. You'll see it'll just keep opening all these different tabs. That's just what it does. I tend to close these out. So then I have a little square here. The great thing is then you can use something like the elements. And you can search for things, you can write things. There's little gradients where you can get like, I mean, these are really cute if you want to use, I think one here I use this one, and it's pretty cool. So you can pull it all the way to whatever size you know, if you want to make it the full square and you want to put your text in the middle of it, you can. And then the gradients, you can pick two colors to blend them together. Maybe I want like a dark blue or a dark purple and maybe like this pink color, and I want to make this pretty gradient. I can, it'll automatically do it. And then you can add your text right on top. A white text would probably show up really well. You can just say add heading if you want, and then you can click on your text here, and then you can kind of look through anything that has this little it looks like a crown, is part of the pro, but it's because I'm a pro member right now doing the free trial, I can do that. I also like this one, the Noja. I thought it was pretty. And then you could do like, maybe you're just doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and you just want like the M for Monday. And then you can resize this and make it as big as you want. If you want to take up the whole thing. And then the great thing too is if you're going to move it, it'll give you, again, you see how my cross came up in the middle, tells me that I am centered. And then I can leave it there. And then if I want to continue to add new buttons, this is the other thing. So then if you copy the page, then you won't have the variations of if you were to start a new one and maybe you didn't position it just perfectly like you did the next one. So I would always copy the page so you know it's exactly the same. Like the background, the purple is all going to be the same. Then I just maybe change this to a T for Tuesday. Now if you notice, my T kind of comes up out of the box a little bit. So even though it was centered, I may just like kind of visually look at this and say, well, that looks more of a center how I like it. I mean, you can always move it around. If you choose to make the font smaller, you can do that as well. And then you can kind of keep going. You can just keep duplicating this page. I mean, I can go all the way and do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday really quickly. The other option that I like, if you don't want to put something on top, if you want to have the words underneath, maybe your button is an image. So you can do like another element. Maybe you want like, say, a school bus. And then you can look at the images here and find, you know, something that you like. Maybe you like this little button here and you want to make a button. You can resize it. Okay, if you leave white space in between, like if I go all the way to the edge here, when I put them in Canvas, unless I put a space in between the two images, they're going to kind of bump right up to each other. So if you do leave a little bit of white space around your picture, it will give it kind of that buffer between that picture and the next one a little bit. I mean, that's kind of personal preference, but I like to give it a little bit of a buffer. So that way it doesn't bump right up to the next one. And then again, you can add you could add something down here, and you could say like, I don't know, whatever you wanted this to be. I think for some reason I keep thinking transportation, but we probably won't need to know their transportation. And then you can you know, you can put whatever font that you like. Any of the fonts that you use, it'll keep coming up there. So it's kind of, and then this would just be an image itself. So when you save it, this whole thing is your image, this whole thing is your button, and you can use it this way. There's so many great things. I mean, I keep finding more and more. I looked for like, you can look for like circle frames. If a lot of people like the circles, and there's some really cute little frames that you can pull up. Some of these you can even change the color. So I'm going to take this off for a second. And then like, if I want to show you guys. Some of these have, yeah, so like I pulled this up, but if you pull up any of these images, so some of you might like something like this, but you can pull up the image and you can change the color. The other thing too is if you want it to really match your header, what I did is like, I went to save photos and I clicked on my photo here. When I click on it, what happens is it kind of brings that photo, like I can even kind of move it to the side for right now. And then I can click here and it'll show me, it'll bring me those photo colors back. So I'm like, ooh, I can pick this one. And I know if you look, it kind of goes right with that picture, it matches. So if you bring that picture in, it'll pull up some of the colors, so then you can have those exact matches that go really flow well together. So, and then you just do the same thing, download it. You can always go back. It's automatically going to save it. This is saved it as M because I didn't change it. That was like the first letter it saw. But that's kind of to the point where I've gotten into Canva. I've done other things too, where you can see here, I just saved some of the fonts, where I wanted to do a sizing here for like a header. This one I can tell you is a 900 by 150. It's a little bit smaller, so it's not the 1500 length, but it kind of is what I use above my week at a glance. I have a paper airplane theme, so I threw in a little paper airplane there. If you just want some text boxes with new fonts, just make a white text box. I mean, you can see here, I've got some things that I had on my pages, and then I just kept adding new pages. So I just kept duplicating it and moved it into the middle, because I like this font and I liked being able to see certain other things in there. So kind of a basic run through of Canva. If you have any questions, let me know. Um, there's a lot to do in Canva. There's a lot to play around with. I think that this is the greatest thing to probably start working on before your district tells you exactly what the fall might look like if you don't know yet, and how to set up your page, to maybe start making some of those headers, making some of those buttons, and it can be a fun way for you to be a little creative, but also make it look nice. The one thing that I would tell people and suggestions for your Canvas page is just like you would in your classroom. You don't want to have too much to where it's just overwhelming, especially for the little ones. Because if they're doing this on their own or they're working with their parents, it can be very frustrating. It can be very stressful. So if you can avoid so much on your page to thinking about very minimal, again, like think about your classroom. Sometimes less is more. But I hope this is helpful for you guys. And if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks.